I'll give you a
Okay, now you're recording.
Oh, sweet.
And feel free, if you want to pull this closer over, just feel free so that you have room to.
All right. Bear with us. We're just getting started, guys. There you go. Thank you so much, guys. Anybody else want raffle tickets? It's going to go to the foundation. They're $1 a piece or $5 for 7 tickets. And it goes to the foundation. And what you're going to get with your raffle ticket is to come up and be a participant in kind of finding out what some of your sensitivities are and get treated by Miss Lannie. All right. Anybody else want raffle tickets before we get started? Okay. Awesome. All right, there we go. Extra hard. Hi, Jen. Hi, Ashley. And hi. Everybody's hopping on.
Can she go place we can do 30 minutes? Okay. Okay. Good. Anybody? Well, if you get tickets, okay. Oh, I see. If she draws one of these numbers, is this the same number?
Skyla, some of the information on the front of that is the same as the yellow one, but the article is different on the back. So.
Good, thank you. All right, guys, let's get started. I'm not sure exactly what time it is, but we're going to get started. Thanks for coming tonight. We're going to be learning about allergies. And my name is Sarah LeClaire, and I'm kind of just here to introduce this lovely lady. I want to thank Skyla and Britta for opening up the facility for us to come and learn about something a little bit different than essential oils, and a little bit more about opening up to the community and for people who are looking for all sorts of different things about health and wellness. We can't just focus on one little area. We need to have a broad spectrum of things that we're looking for in our lives, right? Right. Yes. So I thank them very much for opening up THQ for us to have this meeting with Treating Allergies Naturally with Miss Lannie Davis. She is an RN and opened up a clinic recently. Helping people learn about what they might be sensitive to and how we can treat those things naturally. So further ado, please give a big THQ welcome to Miss Lannie Davis. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me come. I really, really appreciate that. Like she said, my name is Lannie Davis. I've been a nurse for about 5 years, and I started this venture last month with my clinic. But I've been working on it with friends and family for about 2 years now. So first of all, let's just get a show of hands. Who has a child or has themselves a food allergy? Okay. What about an environmental allergy? So pollen, ragweed, your nose runs in the spring, summer, fall, the winter. What about like if you don't have any allergies of any kind, what about do you know somebody that does? Okay. So allergies pretty much affect everyone in one way or another. For those of you that said either you or a child has a food allergy, how many of them was your children? Okay. Did you have to go through the process of them going through school with the allergy and trying to explain to people? Do people understand the severity of it? No. My oldest son has a peanut allergy, and he was severe anaphylactic just to touch. So trying to explain that to teachers and other classmates You know, you worry about them going to lunch and then going out on the playground and then having a reaction. And you can't be there with them and you can't shelter them, so you have to teach them. This is a wonderful way to help with that. We had to go through other methods with him because it was so severe and I didn't know about. It's called NAET is what I do. I didn't know about that when he started school. My third son, I have 4 kids. My third son has an egg allergy, and we discovered that right away because after the peanut allergy, you have them tested right away. So my third son had a peanut allergy, found that out when he was a year old, so that pretty much cuts out all the foods you give a young child, everything, pasta, all of it. When he was 18 months old, I had started this treatment or this education, and I treated him at 18 months old, 2 treatments for eggs. He eats them every day. He's never had another treatment since then for eggs. At that point, I was just doing it with friends, family, knew that I would like to do something more drastic, open up a clinic, but just didn't have the ability to at the time, didn't have the funds or anything like that. So last March, I decided to quit my job and open up this clinic in June. So we're on this venture. So what this NAET is that I'm here to tell you about, it's a way of looking at allergies and sensitivities. We've checked for those with muscle testing. Has anybody ever heard of muscle testing before?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what we look at is I have these different kits, and they contain several different little glass vials that are programmed with the energy of all of these different substances. So physics law says everything has its own energy wavelength. So if I have a glass vial that's programmed with a peanut, my brain can't tell if I'm holding a peanut or if I'm holding a vial that says it's a peanut, okay? So while you are in contact with that allergen or with that vial that's programmed, I can muscle test you. And if your body has any sensitivity to that, it's gonna have a negative reaction. So I can determine if you have any sensitivity. Do you guys know the difference between an allergy and a sensitivity?
Not really. Tell us.
Okay, so an allergy, you're gonna have the outright symptoms, sniffling, sneezing, coughing, anything like that. Your normal hives, what you attribute to allergy. You have a sensitivity, so what I equate it to a dust and a straw. So you could have a sensitivity to vitamin C. Every time you consume something with vitamin C in it, it's a speck of dust in this straw. Nothing happens. You don't know it's anything. Doesn't make you sneeze after you eat it. 10 years down the road, that's a lot of dust in that straw, and it's starting to clog up. What organ is that straw in your body? Is it your lungs? And now you're having COPD problems? Is it your stomach and you have bloating and digestive issues? We don't know. Eczema, it can be anything. Do you have a question? No?
Looking at exhibit A.
So a lot of chronic conditions don't show up till later in life. So we don't know, are those related to something that we've been eating our whole life or touching? It sounds, when I say vitamin C, that sounds kind of crazy to some people to look at vitamins or metals that were around all the time. It's not, that's where the sensitivity factor comes in. It's not that you have an allergy to it. It just doesn't mesh with your body 100%. Your body can process it, but it might not get the full benefit of it because it's not being 100% effective. So if you treat for it, then you reprogram your brain to accept it so that your body gets the most benefit out of it and it's not a speck of dust in that straw. Okay? We want to do the drawing and we'll start going through. Does anybody else want into the drawing? What questions? Because I think the most.
For those that just came in, they may not know what the drawing is about. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna have a live participant tonight, so you guys can see what it looks like to participate in getting sensitivities or allergies, whatever you want to call them. She's gonna actually test you.
I'm gonna do basically what an initial evaluation would be.
And then she's gonna do a treatment as well. So you'll get to actually go through that process. And the raffle tickets are for anybody who might want to participate.
Take mine.
And
where does the money go?
And the money, of course, goes to the Young Living Foundation. All of the money. So they're $1 a piece, or they're $5 for 7 tickets. So raise your hand if you want any tickets. If you didn't get in on it and you want some. Okay, do you want $5 worth? Okay. $5. Okay.
I'm going to pass around 2 different articles that I have here. One of them is about glyphosate. That is basically known as Roundup. So this is on everything. This is one of the things I will test for, is if you have a sensitivity to that. There are many cases where people think they have celiac disease or irritable bowel system. It is actually a link to glyphosate. And if you can deal with the glyphosate, then the symptoms resolve.
Which is what my son
send that one around.
For. He's getting treated for that for now.
The other one that I have going around talks about the conjunction between ADHD and different food sensitivities and food allergies, food dye, food additives, things like that. That's also something I do test for, and then I have further information on that if it is warranted. So actually, we'll start this one over on this side.
While we're waiting, can I ask her, does insurance cover any of this or no?
Insurance does not. However, I do take health savings and flex spending. That is covered on it.
Oh, cool.
Maybe to see if anybody else has any more questions while we're finishing up tickets.
Anyone else questions on? So some of the things I do, your most common food allergens. So your soy, wheat, eggs, nuts, grains, fish, seafood. I've got, I think I have them on the paper, tons of different environmental ones, grasses, weeds, trees, molds, pretty much just about all of it. But anyone, yes?
So you're saying people that think they might have celiac, how is that?
It could be. It could be. I can tell you I was diagnosed with celiac. I have a wheat-only sensitivity, so not barley, not rye, not any of the others, strictly wheat and glyphosate were my 2 problems.
So the person has upset stomach all the time or right after they eat, there's obviously some issues going on, right? How much do you charge typically for a session?
The initial consultation is $100, and then follow-ups are $50.
So with if you use this coupon on here, it'd be $80.
Yay for coupons!
Yay!
Yay!
Any other questions or things that you're curious about?
Sorry I was late, girls. I hate interrupting, but I've left work the last 2 times a week. So.
How many do you need back there? It's just gonna squeak if I walk to the back of the room. There you go.
I'm getting Linda's.
No, that was her.
Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Is this one for?
I also have some other different articles. My website's listed on the flyer. I have a few other articles on there. One of them is different products that glyphosate is in. Pretty much all of your cotton products it's in. These two that are going around are not, because I just found those recently. So grab pictures of those. One of the articles Sarah's talking about, she read it the last time she was in getting her son treated, was glyphosate is in all of your feminine hygiene products, in your toilet paper, in your cotton swabs, in your Q-tips.
Q-tips.
Yeah, all
Gauze
of
pads, tampons.
that. Band-aids. So
Way to
as
go,
crazy
FDA.
as it sounds to buy organic cotton balls or to buy organic feminine products, there really is probably a need for that.
And
Yeah.
if you spray your lawn, you're tracking that in, right?
Yep. That's what that one going around is. This lady saw a sign, recently treated, and wouldn't let her dog go around it for concern.
All right. Get out your tickets. Sorry, guys. You'll get to see the process, but you got to be here if you want to participate. Here it is.
453-335.
It's Marianne. Yay for Marianne. Come on up. And I'm going to give you chair.
Okay, so those of you that said you had heard of muscle testing before, more than likely, have any of you witnessed it or done it before? So I'm assuming you've seen
Yes.
this way?
Yeah.
Okay, there's multiple different ways. There are what's called the O-ring test where you can do it this way. Some people can just do it with their fingertips. I have not mastered that yet. So I use, it's a muscle tester, but it is a squeeze ball, and I'll kind of walk around, or I'll let Sarah walk around with it. It has a PSI gauge on it, so I literally can just squeeze, and then it kind of gives you a really good visual to see how big of a difference this, how the weakness is. And I will, what is your name again? I'm sorry? Marianne. So Marianne will hold on to me. So her energy is going to flow through my body. So even though I'm squeezing the ball and I'm holding on to the substance, it's making a circle pathway through us. Okay? So you get to watch while we do this, and you'll see what they are.
Everybody take good notes.
Okay. We're going to have to kind of slide
Yeah,
it
if you
here
wanna-
just a little bit.
Want me to help with anything? Holler.
Okay, just slide on up closer. There are, and then I'm going to do a few random ones out of this. This is my special kit. This one has a few different grains, and it's the one that's got our glyphosate in it, and a few things like that. So, all right. So this isn't a whole lot of fun to watch, but this is what an initial consultation is. I have about 3 or 4 different kits that I run through that I will check different things, and then we'll go from there. So we're just going to have you hold on to my wrist. And we're just going to see. So there's about our normal, right about 50. Okay, go ahead and hold on again and just keep holding.
You can see the manometer. Marianne can see the manometer, and she'll see that it's going at different
Good so far.
spots. So it might be 40 and it might be 60. That's how she'll be able to tell.
And as you can see, she's not having skin testing done right now, so she's not going to suffer for 20 minutes or longer of scratching and itching while they wait to see what all puffs up. Do you snore?
My husband claims I do.
That's a yes.
Oxygen. Okay, so watch this. When I squeeze, it goes up. I cannot keep it.
What's that one on?
Caffeine. So again, where I said allergy versus sensitivity, you're not allergic to caffeine, but your body doesn't process it optimally. It's a dust in the straw somewhere. The nut mix, so there's different, I'd have to look to see which specific ones were in that. But a lot of these that I do are mixes, and then if we determine that there's, say for example, we're looking at grass mix. So my grass mix might have 50 different strains of grasses in it. If you have a person that's allergic to 18 different grasses, they're gonna have a really hard time clearing that all at once. That's why I've added all of the individual strains of grasses, all of the different strains of weeds. I'm working on getting the trees. That way you can find out specifically which grass blends it is, which weeds, and go through that. Okay.
But you can't use Roundup, so how do you get
You treat the weed with the glyphosate at the same time.
So it's just within the normal range unless she's allergic or sensitive, and the reading is higher than her normal.
It's lower. Mm-hmm. From what we talked about beforehand.
Okay. Makes sense.
Think with that.
Makes sense for my sister.
So if you have those metals that turn your skin green, those are probably a good indication you're allergic to them.
Right, see vegetables. Peppers, tomatoes. But it's easy. It's easy to fix. It's easy to fix. That's different seeds. Pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds.
I'm hanging out.
Keep it entertaining.
I'm hanging out with you. You like coffee and tequila. Yeah, yeah.
Pesticides.
So how do you know the difference between an allergy and sensitivity?
Sometimes I can tell by how big of a drop there is in the strength on here. Sometimes it's a matter of if the person already knows. Sometimes people will have already had allergy testing done. I've had a couple people that have come in that have actually already had skin testing done, and they were getting ready to start allergy shots and found out about this and decided to go this route. She didn't tell me everything that she had tested and what was positive. And I went through and did everything, and she goes, oh, that's really interesting. Corn came up on my skin test. So I was able to determine it just from doing this rather than.
Has anybody ever been tested with like the needles that go in your back or on your arm? Yeah.
Of course.
Who wants to do that again?
Trees.
Of course, I love trees. They make me happy.
Do you have seasonal stuff? Do you seem to get?
Yes, it's never been officially diagnosed, but
Latex.
we need to make sure we have non-latex gloves for the competition.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You have to wear them a lot. That might be why all those specks of dust are adding up.
Some of these are duplicates. Okay. Hold on again. Two more. Corn.
Oh.
You know what's interesting? When I was about 6, my family would come to the farm and we would all go out to get corn, pick corn, and then, you know, we'd all shuck the corn and cut it off, freeze corn. I thought I was allergic to the corn silks. I had to wear a long sleeve shirt and pants if I was going to go help do that because I would break out in a rash.
Very interesting. But you can eat it, right?
Supposedly.
So probably a sensitivity. And
Interesting.
so some of the different stuff that came up, do you mind if I?
Yeah.
Okay. So we had an egg mix. So that would be like your egg white, egg yolk, heat energy. So you can't be allergic to the heat, but hot things that you eat, the heat outside, your body doesn't tolerate it the best. So your body's not going to function optimally.
I have a weird thing where if my hands are under hot water, it's like a magnet. I can't pull my hand away until it gets to the point that I hurt myself. It's a weird mental thing that I have. Not weird.
There you go.
I have all kinds of weird stuff about me.
We had organ mix. So again, you can't be allergic to your own organs, but sometimes it might be a matter of her body wants, there's an organ that might want treated with one of these specific things. So when I go to do her treatments, I will literally ask her body if there's anything else that I need to add when I'm doing that treatment. So it might be a matter of it wants to be treated for egg mix, but it needs an organ to go with it, or it needs the brain to go with it. It might be a specific part of your body where it's stuck at, so I can ask and get the answers. So I ask, again, with the muscle testing, and I will ask yes or no questions. I ask them silently, so I'm asking her subconscious so that I get the answers, and her brain isn't, her outright consciousness isn't influencing the answers that I'm getting. And the really cool thing, I'll go through and I'll test, and some people I'll put like 4 or 5 things in a little jar to treat for that day, and I'll ask if I have permission. I'll ask if anything else needs added to it, and I might add more. Or I might get, no, that's too much, and I'll have to take 1 or 2 things out, and then I'll get, yep, you can treat for that. So it's really kind of interesting to see. I can literally get answers from your body telling me what it wants. Okay?
Is that similar to our iToby scan thing then? Or Zyto scan, like we have with scanners? Okay. The biofeedback that you send?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Some people, I don't have any electronic equipment that I run anything through. Some people, as they get more advanced, don't want to shorten the time span that it takes, and so they can do There are computer systems that have all of this programmed into it, so you can literally hold on to a stick and it will run the gamut of everything. I'm starting like this and going from there. So let's show you what a treatment is like. Okay, I have a question for you.
Tequila.
Not nicotine, I don't smoke.
When you have a treatment done, you are to avoid whatever you are treated for 25 hours. 25. So more than likely, because it's the first thing on the list, is going to be eggs. Are you able to avoid eggs and bread for 25 hours?
I can. What I'll eat for breakfast. Not eggs and bread.
Not
Well, I
eggs
don't
and
eat
bread.
eggs.
A banana.
Fruit.
Oatmeal and fruit.
There you go.
Okay.
Think you can do it.
I can do it.
Yogurt. Yogurt parfait.
There you go.
Yogurt. That'll work. That'll work.
Yogurt with fruit.
Okay, so hold on to me. I'm going to start asking your brain questions if I can do this. Okay, so now that I've asked and I know the answer, I'm going to do it again, okay, so that you can see. All right. Show me a yes. What did that do? What number did it go to?
Over
50. Show me a no.
So I can't, you can't.
No,
drink
no,
that, or
just,
I can't
no,
use it?
what did it do though?
Oh, it was between 40 and 50. No,
So-
it's closer to 40.
So now I know what to look for. That's my, if I ask her a question and the answer is yes, I'm gonna get about 50 on my dial. If the answer is no to what I ask, I'm gonna get 40, okay? So hold on to me. Can I treat for egg mix?
Yes.
Does anything else need added with this?
Okay.
All right, so you get to hold on to that. Now you get to move your chair this way just a little bit because I don't know that I can reach all the way over there and kind of sit sideways a little bit. So the first thing I do is
This way.
that way. Yep. Acupressure along the spine. It is your urinary bladder channel, and we're going to do a couple different breathing patterns, and it's just waking up your nervous system while she's in contact with egg right now. So we're going to start reprogramming her brain to not have any interference with egg, to accept it completely. Okay? So this first one that we do, we're going to have you breathe in and hold it. So just turn just a little bit more. There you go. All right, next one, breathe out. And next time we're going to pant like a dog, and I'll do it with you so you don't feel silly. A little bit harder in a chair. Normally you're laying down in the massage table. Now you can just breathe normal. Okay, now you can sit normal on here. Now you want to see something really cool? Let me hold it back. Hold on to me. How strong that is. Wow. Okay, hold on to it. You get to hold that for 20 minutes. Do we know what time it is?
7:02.
Don't cross your arms and legs, and don't touch any electronic device. Okay?
When we set a
Can
timer.
I shift my left? Well,
Yep, just needs to stay in contact with you.
I set my timer.
Alrighty?
And do you do that?
thank you.
The weights have to go with that
Yes.
too.
Yes. Sorry, you got to come back one more time. Sarah just reminded me because my brain's kind of scattered at the moment. We need to do some points around your body real quick. Okay, so go ahead and sit back down.
Sideways or?
Yep, just normal. Okay. So now I've just got a couple points around her arms and her feet that I will do. And this is much better than getting shots.
Right?
I have one little girl that I do, and when I do the back on her, she calls it the jackhammer. And she laughs. She's the hardest person, even out of my kids. She's the hardest person to do it on because she squiggles the whole time because she thinks it tickles.
What are you doing here?
I'm doing different sites, different acupressure sites. They relate to different organs. And it's just kind of, again, like it was on the back, it's just more retraining the brain. I say, like, when I explain it to my kids, I tell them it's the back is like, wake up, wake up, wake up. This is the right thing. This is what we want your body to accept. And then we're going to train it to go all through your body as being a good thing.
So how many treatments does something normally take? I'm sure each individual.
Everybody is different. A lot of things will clear the first time. Alex has cleared all of his. He did, what did he do? He did glyphosate
and last time was hormones and something else. There was two things the last time.
I think he did virus.
Virus, yes. Virus and hormones. And we have a repeat appointment coming up for that.
And they've all cleared first time. So we did virus on him. Didn't necessarily have an active virus, but it might have been a virus that he's had in the past that's just really, really dormant in the body, but still there. It's just not clear, gone.
And I'm super excited about that whole virus thing too, because he's my kid who, like, his breath starts to, anybody have like their kids and they're like, ooh, your breath isn't right. Like you got something coming on. And so I'm excited to see how this winter goes. And even during the summertime, sometimes I'm like, oh, why does your breath smell like that? It's so weird. But I felt like he has some kind of virus that just kind of flares up every once in a while. And he's had a strep throat a lot and lots of different viral type things. And so I'm curious to see how the winter plays out.
Speaking of winter, one of the things that come this fall, once it starts to come out, is the flu virus and the flu vaccine. I am able to get replicas of the flu strain and the vaccine. So if you are somebody who works in the medical profession, doesn't want to get the vaccine but has to, you could be treated for the vaccine just so that your body processes it better and isn't as likely to have any of the negative effects from it. Also, when I get the actual virus, if you want to be treated for the virus at that point, you can. Kind of a fun little story on that. Last winter, my 3-year-old got the flu. I syringed some saliva out of his mouth and put it in a little glass jar, treated everyone in our household for it that night. As soon as we knew, no one else got it.
Do you think it's easier to treat children versus adults where their body's more open to it, or is it?
It's this, I don't see much difference. However, they don't have the chronic conditions from it. So you're stopping something before it's turned into a long-term issue. So in an adult, you might clear the allergens like within 1 or 2, but it might take longer to reverse the symptoms and the damage that's been caused by it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Any other questions that anyone's come up with or thought of?
If you clear a food allergy,
Mm-hmm.
do you have to eat that food every single day?
No.
Can you repeat the question so these guys can?
They just asked, if you clear a food allergen, do you have to eat that allergen consistently? No. So earlier when I talked to you about my son with the peanut allergy, The program we did on him was through Methodist Hospital, and it's the desensitization program where you eat it every day. He still has to eat it every day, and it is a fight every day because he hates it. His IgE levels, which those are the body's antibodies against peanuts, they are off the chart. So I am now treating him on a daily basis for peanuts with fear, peanuts with anxiety, peanuts with anger, because he has all of those emotions now tied to peanuts. Anger because he couldn't go to friends' birthday parties, fear because it might kill him, anxiety because now he has to eat it. So I treat those, I rotate through them, because when you have an allergy that severe, it's going to take significantly more treatments. So I'm still working on that. My goal is that at one point when we go to have his labs drawn again, I will have been able to get those numbers down doing this. I've got a girlfriend that I treated with red food dye. She's broken out in hives anytime she comes into contact with red dye. She delivered her second son. They gave her a pill with red on it. She then had to have an EpiPen and everything else because of that red dye. We did 3 treatments on her, and she's now eating M&Ms, red slushies, and it was life-altering for her. She's like, I've lived 25 years with this, and now I don't have to. So again, with her, red dye and anxiety, because she's nervous about it. She's gone so long with avoiding it that trying to figure out how to manage the emotion with it.
So did that take her a while? You want to know where to work on that?
She's doing much better with it now. After she's now consumed it a few times and realized that this really did work.
She's retraining her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The first time she took it, or she ate something, she sent me a picture of an M&M cookie. And she goes, well, here goes nothing. And that was at night. And the next morning I get up and I check my phone because I was on vacation and there was no message from her. And I called her and I'm like, are you in the hospital? Are you covered in hives? What? You never responded. She goes, oh, I completely forgot. Nothing happened. And I just kept going with my night. Thanks. You know, my son that we did with the eggs, we've never had to do another one with him. It's not to say you won't ever have to, but it just, like I said, it kind of depends on the person. So I say, you know, you kind of see if you start noticing anything when you eat stuff or when you're around stuff, we can look at it, you know.
So if you treat something and you fix it, then later on you find something else now.
A lot of things, and this might sound kind of crazy, a lot of things can be emotion-based. So vitamin K shots are the first thing your babies get. You have your baby, they have to get a vitamin K shot. Then they give them back to the moms and say, feed them. So the baby has just been traumatized with the shot, and now you say drink milk. So is a milk allergy in a baby a milk allergy, or has the baby now associated the milk with the pain and the trauma of the shot?
How do you figure that out?
You see if there's a sensitivity to the vitamin K and you treat it. And then if there's a problem with milk, treat that.
My daughter
But
had
usually there's a correlation.
tons of problems. We were on 17 different formulas before we found one that would work. It was awful.
That's crazy.
What other questions? Is it interesting? Is it?
Yes.
Is it woo woo?
Yes.
A little bit.
You gotta have an open mind. It can be a lot to kind of look through.
John Diamond, Dr. Diamond, Pastor Diamond, he's a doctor that talks a lot about.
I have not read it.
So anybody that's really just hearing about this for the first time,
I have a few, not a lot of them, but I have a few of this brochure that has some different information in it, and it talks about all of the different illnesses that can be tied to different sensitivities. So autoimmune disorders, hypoglycemia, irritable bowel, leaky gut, premenstrual system or syndrome. I have to tell you, I have a horrible problem with motion sickness. I can be pulling up to a stop sign or a stoplight in the turning lane, and if the other lane next to me starts to go, just that much of a difference is enough to kind of trigger me. When I was on vacation this summer, there was a practitioner in Utah, and I asked her, I'm like, can you treat my motion sickness? I'm like, it's getting out of control. I know there's issues with my ears, but I really think it's emotionally based. And so she did all the muscle testing. She's like, yep, it is emotionally based, but we'll treat it. So to treat for motion sickness, I had to lay on a couch while I held on to a person who swayed and spun and jumped for 25 minutes, and I had to stare at them the whole time and literally make myself sick. And then she did the back points on me, and then she did it all around my body like I did up here. I went to an amusement park a couple days later, not even thinking, and did a mountain roller coaster with my son 6 times in a row. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not ready to puke right now. We were actually able to go back to back. I still have problems with it. It's not gone, but it's significantly better. So
Are there a lot of folks around doing this kind of treatment? Or are you
it's very popular on both coasts. There is a lady in Orange City, Iowa, which is about 3.5 hours away from here. She does it. She does not have a clinic. She does it out of her house a few days a week. And there's a lady in Grinnell. I do not know. Some people get the training for it and then just use it for personal use. They don't necessarily open a clinic or anything like that. So I don't know what her goal is with it, but mine is my goal is to eventually be a 5-day-a-week clinic. Right now I'm doing by appointment, but I think there's a need. There's so many people that can benefit from it.
So are most people taken care of by a consultation and a follow-up? Or does it take multiple follow-ups? I know it's individual, but generally.
It totally depends on how many things that it shows up to be sensitive or that you're sensitive to. If you have, say, 5 different things and your body will let me treat 2 of them at a time, it'll take a couple of visits. Some people's bodies will let me treat 5 or 6 things at a time. Some people, I tried to do, a lady has a problem with cats. I've had to break it down on her to cat saliva, cat hair, cat dander, and her body will not let me do more than 1 at a time. But it let me do all of a dog at one time. So it's just, your body knows how severe it's being impacted by it. And so your body will tell me how much we can do at once.
So for the FSA cards or whatever, do you have to have like a letter from the doctor that's approved? Have you heard of that?
I haven't. If it's something that your card specifically requires, I can provide the receipt for my services with, the breakdown of what was done and the nurse designation or the registered nurse designation. But it depends on what all they require.
Well, I don't think they list your therapy, but they do say for acupuncture, for example, that there has to be, I can't remember the technical name or the acronym, a letter, medical letter. And the doctor writes medical letter saying you be treated for
Like a letter of medical necessity.
recognized as being something that is helped by acupuncture then.
And it would fall that I do acupressure. I don't do anything with the needles, but it does Like if I were to accept insurance, if your insurance did acupuncture, then this would fall under that category.
So maybe it's.
So it might be, yeah. Any other questions? Any questions on the articles that have gone around? Has everybody seen both of them or what they wanted to see?
How can we access the article on the chemical?
Glyphosate?
Yeah, how do we access the article?
It's
I
that
have the
one.
author, but is it on there?
It was glaring.
If you if you write down your name and email address, I'll send you the link. And has our timer gone off yet?
Not yet.
Not
There's
yet?
like 3 minutes left.
Okay.
So 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
Almost.
Mhm.
Awesome. Does anybody have any?
If you want to make your way back up here, I'll go ahead and check.
Any more comments, questions? You guys are good? Amazing. Everybody's good? Right? Angie?
Question. I do the shower routine twice, right out of high school.
You're good.
So, is it a chance some of the shots are already worked and done there, what they need to or something that I probably have different things that need to be treated?
Could be both. Could be both. Do you know what kind of things you had the shots for?
I had potatoes, dust, mold, grasses. I mean, like, try to avoid everything because
Just
there's
come here.
stuff underneath your linen cloths over your fence.
See.
So do you test for mold, like house mold?
I have a mold mix, and then as time progresses, like I said, right now I have like about 75 different grasses and about 75 different weeds. As time progresses, I hope to have the breakdown of all the different molds and all of the different funguses, because there is a lot of link to fungus and health conditions. So right now I just have the mixes, but like I said, I hope to break that out.
So
All right.
if you react to the mix, can you-
I can treat the mix, yes. All right, what did you say here? Cattle, dogs. All right, hold on. Hold strong. Oh, no, you don't have to hold strong. I said mold is strong, so it's
Meanwhile, she's cutting off
mold, dust, and nightshade, which contains tomatoes, seem fine. What did you say the other?
Dogs.
Dogs?
So you're saying, say you're like, I'm allergic to cats. Are you saying if I do that treatment that it would take away my allergy of cats?
Dog is still taking some of it. The others seem strong. So then we can jump down here. Hold on again.
That was the timer. It just.
Mary Ann's timer. It's official. No.
Dog urine.
I know I'm allergic to cats. Dog urine.
Dog urine. Yep. So there you go.
So I have to use an inhaler for asthma. Is that something that is caused by allergies that could be corrected?
It is more than likely dust in your straw, and your straw happens to be your lungs. So you more than likely have sensitivities to something, and they are impacting your lungs. So if you clear whatever the sensitivities are, that dust isn't going to block in the straw.
So it's the same thing with like sinus, ongoing sinus stuff.
Mhm. And if it's sinus issues, I would highly, highly, highly recommend a neti pot. A lot of people don't like to use them, but your sinuses have all of that tissue in there. They're wet. The pollens get stuck. Whatever the irritant is gets stuck in there. And unless you flush it out, even blowing your nose is not going to get it all out. So if you flush it out, that's really going to help with the inflammation in there and your symptoms.
So do you have to do that if, I mean, I do it when I bath, then I cleanse. So should you do it every day?
I would. My husband's the same way. When he's dying, I'm like, well, have you used the neti pot? No, I probably need to.
So are you okay with the one that's not the neti pot, but the pressure one?
Anything to get fluid circulating through there and to get it all rinsed out.
Because my doctor told me once, he said, did you know deep sea fishermen never get sinus infection? They breathe the salt.
Salt air is good.
ocean.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, makes sense. Huh.
That's
So fishermen.
That beach is the answer to everything.
It is.
With the tequila.
There's
Questions online?
a couple questions online.
She tested me for me.
Do you test and treat for PTSD?
I believe, I would have to look and see, but I believe that there is an emotional vial for PTSD. Usually you have to have a treatment for sugar before being able to do emotional stuff, because there is such a link to sugar and emotions. But I would have to look. So if you want to give me your email address or put it in there, I can let you know.
And then the other one is helping with thyroid and other immune system issues.
Yes. Yes.
That's all I see from everybody in here.
So tell us more about the sugar and how you create sugar.
One of the things that I tested for was sugar. It's a sugar mix. So you would do a standard treatment for it, just like I did, and then avoid sugar for 24 hours, 25 hours. The sugar avoidance, basically what you're going to eat. There are a couple of these treatments that you pretty much go on a chicken and rice diet for 24 hours. And that's just because you want your body to remember it or process through as good, like we just trained it to. So if it hasn't passed clear through your body in that 24-hour span and you ingest it or come in contact with it, then it kind of throws it off. So it might not clear completely. That being said, some of your seasonal allergens, they're usually better to treat in the winter. You can treat them in the summer, but since you can't really avoid it, usually it takes a couple more treatments than what normal would, just because you can't. Or you can wear a mask. You can wear a mask and stay more inside, do that kind of thing too.
If you treat for like somebody who has ADHD, so you're going through and looking at their allergens and that, so are you saying that you've seen results with there's help with focus and concentration after doing that?
Oh my gosh. My 3-year-old
Repeat the question.
asking about ADHD and treating for some of those issues if there's a change in focus and concentration. I'm working on my son, the 3-year-old, with the eggs. I'm pretty sure I could almost guarantee he would have an ADHD diagnosis if I would let the doctor do it, but I refuse to take him in and question it because I don't want the label. Same time, I think he might be mild on the spectrum. So I'm going through, there's a specific protocol for ADHD and autism where you look at food coloring, food additives, vaccine additives, the different vaccines they've received, and just treat those so that their body's processing all of those metals appropriately, those dyes, those colors, those additives, and that those aren't causing an issue. Same with sugar.
If I were to come to you because I thought that when I came to my house and got my new carpet dust, my eyes were bothering me, would you need like the ingredients of the carpet? Would I need to do that research so we know what customers have?
I believe there is a paint mix. I'm not sure if it's, I just ordered another set of vials that have poison ivy and oak and those kind of things. It might be in there, like the paint. Carpet, I'm not sure of either, so I'd have to check. Usually those things are pretty standard, the glues that they use and the chemicals in that stuff. So believe it or not, there are kits for most of these kind of things. And if I don't purchase a full kit, you can get I can get just the ingredients that I need. But they're available, they're out there. And the fact that you know that your symptoms started around that time, that's a really good spot to look at.
So when you mentioned poison ivy, so if you treat somebody, does that mean if they get into poison ivy, they don't have a reaction to it?
If not a reaction, severely less than what they normally would.
Do you have wild stuff?
I don't know. I would have to, like I said, I just ordered like 75 different weeds. So I bet I can look and see. I've got the list of everything I just ordered, so I can look and see if it's in there.
That one's significant than poison ivy. Poison oak.
Okay.
So when you do a treatment, do you go through every single vial that you have?
I
Or
go
when you do the
through
consultation?
I go through the animals. I go through that main kit that I did on her that's got like all your environmental stuff. It's got your food additives, your food dyes. It's got a lot of the mixes. And so I usually do that one. And then if I determine or the person tells me that there's sensitivities to other things or allergies that they know of to other things, then I break off and go check for the other things. I usually always check for all the different grains, gluten, glyphosate, that kind of thing.
So some of the,
Go ahead.
some of these things, I'm just thinking of one of my grandkids in particular. It seems like those things that either you're sensitive to or allergic to sometimes lead into asthma.
Mm-hmm.
So you take care of the sensitivity and the allergy.
And the asthma improves. Mm-hmm.
So my daughter was diagnosed with Hashimoto's in March.
Okay.
And we've been doing a lot of research and things like that. And she chose to go gluten-free because of hopefully helps with some inflammation and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So say a person has not had any gluten for months. When you test them, will it show?
Mm-hmm.
Still show that they have a
Yeah, because even though they haven't had it, if their body's not processing it ultimately, it's still going to show. Their body's still going to say, I don't like this. I might not have ate it or I might not have been around it ever. I don't like this.
So it's interesting in here, it says allergies to your children, your clothing, your coworkers, and your spouse. Darn it. You can fix all that.
It just goes back to like, okay, so your spouse, I haven't done one of those treatments yet. And when I first learned about it, I'm like, okay, this is just nutty. But it's just back to that. Everything has its own energy wavelength. And you just need to get your body to accept that wavelength and not clash with it at all.
How do you fix your spouse? Because that's kind of unique. Everybody's different.
You would either, so like she was in contact with the allergen, so you would do it while holding your spouse. But then there's that 24-hour avoidance or the 25-hour avoidance. So you're going to go on vacation for a little bit.
How do you bring your coworkers with you? That's what I want to know.
Mhm.
Oh, crazy.
Where did you do it at? It's amazing. So my kids having their allergies to the level that they did, my mother-in-law was researching different treatments and she found this. She lives in Colorado and she drove back and forth to Utah for treatments thinking, if I explain this to my daughter-in-law, she's gonna say I'm up in the night and there is no way on earth we're doing this to our kids. So she had herself treated. She had really bad allergies. So she went through treatments herself, hoping that it would benefit her. And if I could see the benefit in her, then maybe I would do it to my kids. And when I saw the benefit in her, that's when we treated my son for eggs. And I was like, game on. We're going for this.
And did you go to school for this, or how did you
I already had my nursing license. So I'd been a nurse 3 years when I decided to start doing this training. There's lots of online video classes and testing. And can I tell you the testing, it is hardcore. They take your test, it's timed. When you're done, if you don't pass, guess what? You take the class again. And it is not a cheap class. So it's not just a take the class 19 or the test 19 times until you pass. It's you study, you learn it, you get it, and you do it. And then I've done, they do a national, it's actually a world conference. And I went to that in April down in St. Louis. Met so many practitioners from all over the world. Amazing stories. Ooh, lots of learning, wonderful experience.
So you needed to have your nursing degree first or something in order.
Yep, you have to have either a nursing license, acupuncture, chiropractor. You have to have some sort of a medical background before you can go through this.
amazing?
So how many years have you been doing this thing?
I've been doing the NAET on my family for 2 years, family and friends. I've been doing nursing for 5.
I have a feeling your schedule is about to get.
I do have my appointment book if anybody does want to schedule, so just let me know.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
And there's just got some for business cards up here if anybody wants.
All of the information is on the flyer, but yes, if you do want a separate business card to give to somebody or anything like that, And then my website's listed on there. There is also a Facebook page, Balance Health and Allergy. Feel free to go on there, like it, share it, whatever. There's articles on there that I try to, there's more articles on the Facebook page than the website because it's easier to share stuff through there. So.
And then if everybody had a chance to sign in, great. If you haven't had a chance to sign in on your way out, if you wouldn't mind just signing in up at the front desk so we know how many people were here. And Lannie can maybe follow up with anybody if you want to leave her your email to contact her or contact you on the Facebook or on the website. So thanks for coming, guys. I hope you guys have a great night and learned a lot while you're here. Thank you.
My grandson is diagnosed with ADHD, and we are using oils, and we're not getting a lot of result yet.
Right.
So
right.
I think
might be time for another.
I think this might be the answer.
Right. Right.
And then so
okay, hold on just a second. The Facebook page, guys, is Balanced Health and Energy. Okay, Balanced Health and Energy, and that's on the Facebook page. All good? Anything else, guys? Awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and log out. Thanks for coming. I hope you guys learned a lot of stuff. We'll see you later. I got to figure out how to get out of here. Stop video. Okay, let's try that. All right, there we go. Oh, that just stopped me, but we're still on. Pause or stop recording. Okay.